Please support the Islamic Shura Council of Southern California.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My dearest brothers and sisters, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless your Ramadan. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allow us to enter the last 10 nights with strength, with vigor, and with a determination to catch Laylatul Qadr. Allahumma ameen. Alhamdulillah, today we are on the 17th juz. The 17th juz begins with ShuraTV, the chapter of the prophets. And in this beautiful surah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He begins the surah by speaking about a number of aspects of the core message that the prophets brought to their people. And then in the middle of the surah, He begins to elaborate very, very briefly on the life of a number of different prophets and giving a snapshot of one of the core arguments they brought to their people, or one of the miracles that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave to that prophet. And then He ends the surah again with different elements that have to do with the message of the risala of the anbiya, the message of the prophets, including Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in this chapter talks about the proofs of prophethood, the proofs for Allah's existence, asking us to reflect over the nature of the world. And then the other part I want to focus on in our talk today is the reality of life and death. And this is the central theme that every prophet brought, that believe in Allah, obey Him, because indeed you will be resurrected and brought to Him. And so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says in Surah Al-Anbiya, in ayah number 35, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم كل نفس ذائقة الموت ونبلوكم بالشر والخير فتنة وإلينا ترجعون. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says, indeed every soul shall taste death, and surely we will test and put every person through a trial that includes hardships and good things, and to us you will return. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala here gives us a verse that tells us the reality of this life, which is, of course, that every single one of us, no matter how much we're enjoying our life, no matter how much we want to live forever, that indeed no human being, despite the fact that people will try till the end of time to prolong their life, even to the point of cryonics, of freezing their bodies, hoping they can be thawed 50, 100 years later so they can live longer and longer. The reality is, no matter what you try to do, you and I will all meet our death. But of course, it's not simply just that we live and we die, as some of the mushrikeen used to say, but this life ultimately is an evaluation of who we are. We will be evaluated by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And we hear a lot about this in different talks about the idea of this life being a test. And oftentimes when we think about that, we think about the hardships, that Allah will test you, like He says in Surah Al-Baqarah, that He will test us with a loss of life, and a loss of food, and a loss of wealth. And that's one type of test. But in this ayah, Allah tells us the balanced nature of the bala that all of us will face in this life. And that is that the blessings and the hardships are both tests from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And so today, while we're going through social isolation and people are getting sick from COVID-19, perhaps people think a lot about the hard tests that we have. The test of patience for sickness, the test of patience if we've lost our jobs or had our income cut. But I want to focus on the other side, because we don't often speak about that, which is the test of blessings and the test of the bounty of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala being opened upon us. And the Prophet Muhammad spoke about that in the hadith, where he said that to take advantage of 5 before 5. So the same way that a lot of things in life are difficult will be a test, we'll also be asked about the blessings that Allah gave us. So for instance, our health. How did we use our health? Allah will ask you that before you got sick. Because once you're sick, Allah will not ask you about some of the things, will ask you about your patience. But what did you do when you were healthy? And before the test of poverty comes, may Allah protect us from all that. That He will ask you, what did you do with your wealth? And before old age comes, we'll be asked what we did with our young age. And before we get busy with life, Allah will ask us about the moments that we had free time. So you see that this life, no matter how you look at it, whether it's difficulty or it's a blessing, all of it we will be asked by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So I want us to think for a minute about these things, the blessings that we have. Alhamdulillah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given many of us at least something from those things that we have mentioned. Perhaps some of us have free time. What are we doing with that free time? Are we doing sadaqah with our free time? Serving the masjid, serving the community, serving the needy, helping in some cause that you find valuable to you. Because once you get busy, you can use that as an excuse before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Ya Allah, my job and the overtime that I had to work to provide for my family and my wife and my children, they occupied my time. But if you have free time, take advantage of that now. Your health. While we're healthy, what are we doing with that health? Are we using it to help those who are needy in any way? Are we using it to do things that are pleasing to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Are we preserving that health and taking care of it by taking care of our bodies and our minds and our souls properly? When it comes to our wealth, while we have wealth, before Allah tests us with anything, are we using that wealth properly? As the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ said in the hadith, لا ينقص مال بصدقة فتصدقوا, that the believer understands that charity does not diminish wealth, so give. So give your wealth knowing that Allah will not take that wealth from you because you've given it. And so, just like this, every time you get something good in life, you get a promotion, you get a raise, you find free time that's opened up for you, you find yourself in good health, you find something that you can take advantage of. Take advantage of that now. Because that is a test from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Just like when you don't have something, Allah will ask us how we dealt with the deprivation of something. Allah will ask us what we did when He opened the doors of that blessing to us. And remember that ultimately we will all return to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, where we'll be asked about everything we did from the moment that we were held responsible by Allah to the moment that we died. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to allow us to live this life and pass those tests which are full of blessings, and to pass the tests that are full of difficulties. And I'll ask Allah to spare us from having too many difficulties, because His mercy is more loving to us. Subhana rabbika rabbil izzati amma yasifun, wa salamun ala al-mursaleen, walhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.